Hey everybody, this is Preach, and we are here today and we're going to look at the Assassination Rogue. You've just hit level 85, you've seen videos of rogues topping the meters now, and you're wondering, hell, how am I actually going to fare in the looking for Dungeon Nightmare on my brand new character? People are going to laugh at me, I can barely get through the door, I'm wearing my greens, people are going to be very, very upset to see me join. How can I make sure that that is not going to be a fail and I'm going to be kicked from the group? Let's have a look what we can do. Okay, so I've set up this rogue. The link to his armory is in my link. Item level 333. The entry level item level to get into a heroic is 329. So we are really on the borderline of getting through the door. We're still wearing questing items. What are we going to do to make sure that we are winning the day and making our group as easy as possible? Let's look at the gear first of all. Some heroic gloves purchased off the auction house with just some leveling cash. Nothing expensive. Drops from Zul'Gurub. We also purchased a ring just to get our item level up so we can actually get through the door. Rest of the gear, greens, some PvP legs that I made, and you know the current rage, if anybody's wearing any PvP items, I'm going to show you that that does not matter. Some 333 feet that we've picked up in a dungeon. The rest of the stuff is all bits and bobs that we've picked up through leveling, same as any other guy's going to have. We've got some greens, we've got a green main hand. Knowing how important weapons are for a rogue, this might make you think, God, I've got to get to a blacksmith and buy an expensive item. Don't bother with that, we'll pick it all up as we go. Some green braces, we've stuck our 130 agi on there from our leatherworking profession. Don't need to do that either. If your profession's there, might as well use it. It's going to cost you nothing at all. Chest, everything's low level as you can see here. 316 necklace. Really, only one 346 item on here that we picked up with our points from leveling. There are really no fast daggers, and a rogue really wants a fast dagger in his offhand so he can proc as much poison as he can humanly possibly do. So you don't want a slow offhand, you want a nice fast 1.4 speedish dagger in your offhand and a slower 1.8 speed dagger in your main hand. We managed to pick up a helmet, had a made to gem socket, so we went to the auction house, we picked up a nice agile diamond, 54 agility, 3% crit, yes please. Activate that, needs 3 red gems. So all we did was put 1 red gem in there. We didn't worry about any socket bonuses, and we stuck 2 red gems in our chest just to get our meter activated, get us on the way. Now, what are your stats you're looking for in your rogue? What can you do to make sure your rogue is as good as you possibly can be? You could enchant everything. It's going to cost you quite a lot of gold. And these are items you're going to replace very quickly. You can gear a character now with some dedication in a couple of days. So when everybody's moaning, oh, you didn't enchant all your gear before you bothered to come into my heroic dungeon, and you're upsetting me with your lack of commitment to your character. F those people, really. You're going to replace these items very, very quickly. So you're not going to spend thousands of gold enchanting your character. You might have only picked up 1,000 gold, and you've already bought a couple of items so you can actually get into heroic. So F those people. You can do some very basic stuff, very cheap, to get as good as you can possibly be without having to go and waste a load of cash on items you're going to replace in a couple of days anyway. So let's look at what we did. Our stats for an Assassination Rogue: hit. Now that's hit to the spell cap, guys, not to the melee cap. We are poisons, work off the spell table. So you need to be getting your poisons, which is where all your damage is going to come from. You need to get all that hitting as much as humanly possible. So you're going to be looking at the spell hit cap for that, and we'll look at that again in a second. Next on the line is mastery. Our mastery gives us more poison damage. Potent poisons. More and more poison damage. And as an Assassination Rogue, it's all about the poisons. Okay? So we're going to be looking at getting as much poison damage, as much hit to make sure our poisons hit as well, and as much mastery to make our poisons do more damage. The rest of the stats go in the order of haste. Then you've got crit, expertise way down the bottom. Now you'd be thinking, I'm a melee class, I don't want to get dodged. Why does my expertise need to be so low? Well, rogues aren't global cooldown cap, simple as. Global cooldown cap means that when you go for an attack, if you've got more resources wasted because you dodged, then you're in trouble, because you just wasted an attack. Rogues aren't like that because we work off energy. So what all you need to be thinking of is, if I dodge, my mutilate gets dodged, doesn't matter, my energy wasn't capped regardless. So we can just throw it in again and it's probably going to hit the second time. So we're not in any danger. If we start capping up our energy and we're wasting resources, then we need to be thinking more and more about expertise. But as it stands, as you first going into a heroic dungeon, you're not in that kind of trouble, so don't worry about it too much. So we're going to reforge. Reforge is going to cost us 100 gold, 150 gold, nothing that we're really going to be struggling with after leveling. A couple of quests is going to throw you that kind of gold, nothing to worry about. So we look at our items and we think, do I need to use a Reforge optimizer? Do I need to check a website? Do I need to read one of these forums? And, you know, Elitist Jerk seems to have endless tables of statistics and gearing I should be doing. Remember, those are for endgame raiders. That's not for you, as you just capture your character and you're going to move into a heroic dungeon. So what did we do? We looked at our gloves. They had haste and expertise on it. Well, according to our stats, expertise is worse than haste, so we're going to turn that into hit. We then looked at our next item. Mastery. We love mastery. The other one is crit. Well, crit's garbage. So let's turn our crit into hit. And all we're trying to do is get as much hit as possible till we reach the cap. So you've looked at your melee hit chance and you've seen, oh my god, I'm 0. Special attacks aren't going to miss. So is that enough hit? No. Poisons, as we said, spell hit. So we come down to the spell table and we look at the hit chance. See, even with all the reforging, I have still 2.32% chance of missing my poisons. Not a problem. We've put as much as we can possibly do into this to make sure that we get as much hit as possible. So all we did was we went through every item, mastery and haste. Well, mastery is better than haste, so we'll turn the haste into hit, and so on. And we see for every single item, that is what we've done. We've got as much hit as possible, looking at the 2 stats that are on there. Which one's worse? Okay, crit's worse than mastery, so we'll turn the crit into hit. Really simple stuff, guys. Remember the order you need, and once you've started to hit your spell hit cap, which we'll look at in the more advanced guides, is where then we'll look into maybe moving other stats into mastery. Nothing difficult. You don't need to look at this reforging as, oh, it's so complicated, I need to weigh up this stat and this stat. Not for a rogue. For some classes, it's certainly more difficult, and when we get to those classes, we'll overview that themselves. But as it stands for a rogue, you want to get your spell hit cap, and then you want to keep the spell hit cap later down the road while bumping your mastery up as high as possible while sacrificing the other less important stats. Okay? Really, really simple stuff. So, glyphs and talents. Let's have a quick look what we did here. Very basic guide. Now, what you might have done is you've armoured a top rogue in the world and they're using a 31-2-8 spec. And you're thinking, well, preach, you idiot. Why are you 31-3-7? Simple as, you're looking at rogues who have got ample amounts of gear and are very easily hitting the spell hit cap. We're not. We have just capped. We're wearing what we have on our backs. We have no choices in gear. We can't swap around items. We've got no more points to buy any more items. So we're going to look at precision in combat just for now, and it gives us more hit with our poisons. We're going to use 3 out of 3 in there, and then when we have more spell hit from better gear, we can easily move that point out and back into where it should be, which is opportunity to increase our mutilate damage. But for now, we need that hit, so we're going to stay with 31-3-7. Now, it's best to look at your assassination tree because we're assassination rogue, and instead of looking at what points we've taken, let's have a quick look at which points we skipped, because in a lot of ways, Blizzard does give the opportunity for filler talents. Talents that maybe we don't really have a DPS boost from, but you can have them nonetheless. So it's all about really choosing which talent is worse almost, and then reading what your talents you've picked up actually do. So in the first team, we didn't pick up Deadly Momentum at level 85. After you're killing an opponent that yields experience or honour, well, it's PvE, and we're capped on levels, so we're not getting experience or honour. So why would we do that? But the other talents have increased our envenom damage, which is good. We're going to be envenoming all the time. And lethality, which has increased our mutilate damage. And backstab, well, we're going to be doing those. So they're far better than picking up a talent that isn't going to give us anything. Again, moving down, we've picked up quickening. Healing effects increased on us by 20%. That's good, isn't it? Passive, we're just getting healed for more. Makes it easier to keep us alive while we're just continuing to do our damage. Increase your movement speed by 15%. Is a small DPS increase. The quicker you get to mobs, the quicker you get to bosses, the earlier you start your damage. It's a passive DPS increase without being so obvious. We've also picked up puncturing wounds, increased our mutilate and backstab critical chance. We're going to be using them all the time, so that's good. What we did skip was blackjack. If, reducing their damage done by 35% after a sap. Very rarely are you going to be able to keep a successful sap on and get any benefit from that whatsoever. Tanks these days are very quickly going to run in because of go-go-goers and start AoE tanking everything. Oh my god, I'm going to throw my hammer of the righteous and I'm going to thunderclap everything. I'm going to swipe everything and I'm going to death and decay all over the place. Your saps generally aren't going to work. But everything else, quickening and ruthlessness to add combo points on your finishing moves, all good. Extra damage. We had to pick up an extra point to get down to this tier with Cold Blood, a free crit. Not a great DPS trees, but it gives us a nice 25 energy. The crit is not so much a bonus to us because we're looking for poison damage. It's going to crit. It's going to let your envenom crit. A nice quick boost, but nothing major. But it certainly gives us 25 energy when we use it. Can't complain at that. So we put 1 point into Deadly Brew. Champs is crippling poison. Again, it's a case of nothing's really better to put that in. So we're going to take it anyway. Sometimes tanks get annoyed by, why have you slowed those mobs? I'm trying to drag it with me. Well, tough. That's the best place for me to put that. Vile Poisons increases the damage of your poisons. We're an assassination rogue. We're all about our poisons. That's why we picked that up. We are going to poison the crap out of everything. We are really going to mess you up with our poisons. So we're going to boost the damage on that. Seal Fate, extra combo points. More Envenoms, quicker getting up your Ruptures, which we're going to talk about in a sec. Everything like that is a good DPS increase. Deadened Nerves, reduce damage by 9% when it's all in. Looks good on paper, but it's not a DPS increase, and all your other talents are. So we are going to skip that for now. There might be a time in later in more advanced guys, you might be under heavy constant damage where it might be worth taking that. No rogue that I know of has ever taken Deadened Nerves in current content, so I wouldn't worry about it at all. Murderous Intent. This is our execute talent. When you backstab an enemy below 35% health, you instantly recover 30 energy. Brilliant. So when our mob turns to 35%, we're going to stop mutilating and instead we're going to backstab him. It can be a little bit awkward sometimes, and even some bosses don't have a back. But for what it takes in general, we can always use it. So we're going to take that. That's a nice execute build. We're going to be saving cooldowns on big bosses for when we've got that there. So it's all good. Overkill. We're going to be stealthed because we're a rogue. We're going to stealth, and that gives us an energy regen when we come out. Also a DPS increase because when we vanish during combat, we're actually going to go back into stealth and get the overkill buff again during the combat. So it actually makes vanish during a boss fight a DPS cooldown. Because you get when your overkill runs out, you can vanish, stick a garrote back on, get a bleed going. And then you've also got this overkill buff for a nice long 20 seconds, okay? Master Poisoner. This is a nice debuff for the raid. Increases your poison damage, so it's a buff for you. It also makes spell damage taken increased by the mob for all casters, etc. All good. We've skipped improve exposed armor. In general, in heroics, you're going to either end up with you've got a 50-50 chance of getting a feral druid or a warrior. They're going to be doing this anyway. And again, our other points are more worthwhile. Venomous Wounds. This is where we're going to be using Rupture on bosses, sometimes on nice high health trash mobs. We're going to get our Rupture on. Deals nature damage when it ticks, and when the mob dies with Rupture on, you're going to get that energy back, so it's not particularly wasted. Cut to the chase means we only ever have to slice and dice as soon as we pull. The rest of the time our Envenom is going to just refresh slice and dice to its full. We're going to use little tricks such as using a 1-point slice and dice with a quick Envenom, and that's going to give us the full duration slice and dice without having to waste combo points on putting a large slice and dice on. So we're going to be pulling, we're going to be garroting to get our 1 combo point, we're then going to slice and dice. It's only going to be very short, but we're going to very quickly follow that with probably an Envenom from a Mutilate, and that's going to give us a full combo point. Our major DPS cooldown here is Vendetta. Increasing your damage done by 20%. Lovely cooldown, and it lasts quite a long time. So we're going to be using Vendetta during our bosses. We've already spoke about precision, increasing our hit with our poisons. So we're then moving on to the subtleties. There's nothing else we want to take in Assassination, so what's in subtlety? Well, you've got 3 choices at the beginning. Improved ambush. Why have we skipped that? Because we don't use ambush. Simple as, we really do not use ambush. So forget it. You might as well. You need 5 points, so we'll take the other 2. Night Stalker has increased your speed. Is it a DPS increase in the face of it? No. But in reality, like we said before, you're moving faster to the boss, faster to the mobs. It's a passive DPS increase in such respects. You're going to be moving around much quicker. And also, with that, mixed with quickening, you actually move faster in stealth than you do out of stealth. So you want to be in stealth when you're running back to bosses. Get in stealth. You're actually moving quicker, whether you believe it or not. Test it out. You're going to be moving faster. Relentless Strikes, restoring energy when you do when you do a finisher. Who doesn't want that? We do. We're rogues. And our final one is Opportunity, increasing our mutilate damage even more. And our Backstab. Again, we've skipped 1 point in that for now until we get more hit later on in the day. But that's going to be where our final point goes. Take 2 out of 3 for now. Unless you've already got a load of hit, you're already slightly more geared than this rogue. Like I say, this is as if you've just capped. Then take that point. But for now, we don't need it. Glyphs, dead easy. Mutilate, we're going to be spamming Mutilate all the time to get our combo points. So I want you to make sure if you're playing your Assassination Rogue, you've taken Sinister Strike, all that off the bars. You're using Mutilate to get your combo points. Glyph of Rupture, as we said in our talents, Rupture we're going to be putting up because it deals nature damage, so we're going to be using that during bosses. We want to increase the duration of Rupture so we can do more Envenoms, keeping our Envenom buff on. And Backstab, like we said, our Execute also grants you 5 energy if you crit, and you've got all that bonus crit from talents. It's giving you more energy back every time you use it, so you're going to be chaining Backstabs. Really nice Execute. Get that Glyph in, you're going to be pumping damage into it. And most important, I can't stress this enough guys, is your Glyph of Tricks of the Trade.